Computer. Okay. Let's hope for the best here, guys. Um, there's a chat. Okay. Um, where's my share screen? Okay. It's all different when I do it from here. Okay. Okay. Phew. Backup plan worked. All right. So welcome in. Happy Wednesday, everybody. You just gotta wing it sometimes. I do the best I can, but you never know. Anyway, so welcome in. Oh, good. We got Debbie here. We got some new people and some graduates. I love when you guys graduate and you still come back and show up. That's so wonderful. I really do appreciate that. Before I dive in, well, let me go ahead and see if you're letting people in. We got some people joining. Awesome. All right, so we got some, today we are going to, okay, this is the right screen, right? Okay. Yeah, so I got some opening funnies, we got some welcomes and some shout outs. I will reveal the secrets that the big food companies do not want me to tell you. And then as usual, there's Q&A at the end, so feel free to, the group isn't that big. You can unmute yourself and ask questions. Or save it for the end, either way. If we're right in the middle of a slide and it's pertinent to that slide, if you're not too shy, go ahead and unmute and ask right then and there. I do welcome that. And so I'll go ahead and get started. We've got just a couple of shout outs. I've got Carrie, who's down 13 pounds already. She's doing fabulous. So congratulations to you, Carrie. Patrice is already down 16 pounds and she's also in the beginning stages as well. Jessica is down 10 pounds and that's in her first week. Now that's not typical, but that's why she ended up on the shout out list, I suppose. But she's also having no cravings, no chocolate cravings. And so she's real excited about how her first week is going. So congratulations to you, Jessica. And then Christina is also down 10 pounds. And she said she's loving this program. She said it's not as hard as she thought it was, as she thought it would be. So congratulations to Christina. I got two Nicoles yesterday, so welcome to both Nicoles, PJ, Whitney, Abigail, Delia, Kristen, Alicia, Jennifer, Darlene, Stephanie, Dawn, and Sarah. So welcome to my new people. Oh, here's the funnies. I thought you guys might appreciate some of these little funnies. Um, so here we are. All right. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. So the first one, the big, diet companies do not want me to tell you, is there's a lot of pills on the market. There's a lot of potions and lotions, and I've sold them at my vitamin store. There's like lotions that you can rub on your belly fat, and it's supposed to get rid of the belly fat or get rid of the cellulite, or these pills that you're going to take. And they're going to make you slim and fit, and no need for to diet or work or to work out or change your food or change your activity. And if you see those on any kind of program, run. I did sell a lot of different diet pills in my program, and they actually made me nervous. A lot of them were not good for the heart. Some people got addicted to them because I could tell you they would come in my store, and if I was ever out, you could see the panic on their face, like just absolute panic. And a lot of the diet pills basically curb your appetite. And just by extremely cutting your calories, that's a temporary fix. What that ends up doing, if you go too extreme on that, and you guys know, a lot of you guys are turning your stuff in, and I'll come back and say, hey, your calories are too low, your calories are too low. And that's so it's important that we go lower. We want to be in a deficit, but you don't want to extreme. You don't want to do extreme because that's how you mess up your metabolism and that's how you slow the metabolism down. So diet pills are not always your friend. There's things out there that are fat burners and they're herbals, things like raspberry ketones or green tea extract or CLA or things of that nature. They can help, but you must change your food into eating clean and healthy, and you must move your body on some level. There's no magic pill out on the market that you take the pill. I want the magic pill that makes me, look 20 years younger. That's what I want. That's the pill I would hope for. But that's about as real as some of these diet pills. It's just not a real thing, or it's not a healthy thing. That I can for sure stay. All right, so Nutella. Nutella through the years has been, or at least it used to be marketed as a very healthy food. It's made with hazelnuts and skim milk and cocoa powder, and they market it to children. However, it is also, let me move my thing here. Oops, sorry. I'm on my laptop. I don't know how to use it. Okay. So the benefits of it, yeah, it's made with hazelnuts and skim milk and cocoa powder, but it's marketed to kids, so it should be healthy if it's marketed to kids, right? No, but palm oil, which is a trans fat, it's also got artificial flavors, which can be very chemically, and it is loaded, 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 loaded with sugar. And as you guys know, sugar is not your friend. I've done an entire week's topic on the dangers of eating and consuming too much sugar. It's bad for your heart, it's bad for your gut, it's bad for our weight, it's bad for our circulation, it's bad for your kidneys, it's bad for your eyesight. It puts you at risk for diabetes. There's just nothing good about sugar besides its sweet flavor. So be very mindful of things that consume a lot of sugar, like hazelnut. Oh yeah, it was marketed to kids and they got sued over it and they did lose because the food was actually that unhealthy and not good for kids. Oops, I guess that was it for that. All right, so honey seems pretty harmless. It does have antioxidants, so that's a good thing. It's got phytonutrients. Obviously, that's a good thing. That's very good, beneficial for our health. Um, it improves the improvement of your immune system, which is obviously it can be a very good thing. And it can relieve allergies. I can tell you guys, when I
Mhm.
first moved to Arizona, I thought I was getting sick. I was getting the sniffles and the sneezes and all the stuff and all the sinus. And it turns out when I had local honey, that changed it because well, I had just moved from California and I was eating local California honey to where I was. Stuff that I sold in my vitamin store that was within, a 20-mile radius of my store. So it really is great for improving allergies if you can buy the local to your area honey. However, a lot of times, a lot of the honeys on the market, they have added sugars and so you want to look at your ingredients, especially if they're in a like a bear or they're marketed to children. They often have cheap kind of knockoff sugars added so that they can save money because that high fructose corn syrup, which is one of those sugars, is a lot cheaper for them. So if they mix it, they're saving a whole lot of money. It raises their bottom lines. So right now in this program, the first 12 weeks, we're not doing honey. But when you do, or if you do bring it back, you want to make sure it is local. All right, Diet Coke. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir. I know you guys are not drinking Diet Cokes now, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. What's good about it is, it tastes good. It has no calories. It has no sugar, right? It's guilt-free, so why not? We want to go sugar-free. We don't want extra calories or empty calories. So why shouldn't we drink Diet Coke? Well, it's also been connected with migraines and headaches specifically because of the aspartame sweetener that they use. It reduces your insulin sensitivity, so it can start to put you at risk for insulin resistance, which of course leads you right into diabetes. So we really want to stay away from those Diet Cokes. It inhibits weight loss. It also perpetuates the need for sweet. And it also has added colors in there. And I was once told a long time ago that the caramel color that's in diet soda is what gives you the cellulite. And I have no idea if that's true or not, but I let myself believe it, so it's easier to stay away from. It's just a mental game I'm playing with my head. But it worked because I never buy them or drink them. It's just not something I have. I lean towards club sodas and then I flavor it myself. Or by the way, there's a Zevia. You guys can have Zevia from day one, and they have a cola. They have root beer. They have that like a Dr. Pepper version. They have a grape soda, which is yummy. There's a little kid in you, you'll love the grape soda. But a Zevia is fine because it's sweetened with stevia and not the aspartame.
Mm.
Oh, and lastly, it also can cause eye problems and blurred vision, probably because of the aspartame. It's really, really, really terrible for us. Oh, that's right. I forgot. And the Diet Cokes really do, the aspartame specifically can really affect the gut bacteria. And this is why we're here, guys. We're trying to heal the gut because we've been doing stuff. I drank Diet Cokes all the time before I understood what I was drinking. And, my gut has been jacked or was jacked up for years. And I'm sure that's a good, good, good reason why. All right, so fat free. That's a common thing that you see on labels. And why wouldn't we want to go fat free? Fat has twice as many calories as your proteins or your carbs. It's very high in calorie. Fats are calorie dense. Um, we don't want saturated, especially we can have some saturated fats. We need them. They're healthy on some level, but we especially don't want trans fats. So why shouldn't we go fat free? Because we need, and I mean need, polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats. These are good for your heart and good for your brain. Your brain lives on this stuff. It also helps reduce inflammation in the body. So these are important facts that we need. Also, when you get a fat-free product, and I'm thinking specifically of a salad dressing. Salad dressings are typical for there's many, many fat-free dressings out there. But what they do to make it taste better, because fat adds flavor and sugar adds flavor. So if you remove all of one, you got to add more of the other. And so if they want to sell their product, if they want it to taste good for people to continue to buy their product, they're going to have added sugars. And most of the salad dressings on the market, the Wishbones and the Paul Newmans and the Crafts of the world, the stuff I grew up on, they all have high fructose corn syrup primarily, which is the most addictive kind of sugar, and it's the most processed, and it's cheap. It's cheaper than even regular sugar. So this is why they add it. It makes the food taste good, it's highly addictive, and it's cheap for the companies that are doing it. Also, some label tricks that these companies will do to get us to buy their foods. Number one is all natural. There are no rules or requirements to be able to put that label on. All it has to be is at some point in its existence did it come from something natural, but they can pick it or grow it or kill it or whatever and then process it and change it and do all these funky things and it still can be stamped with an all natural. And I'll tell you something, when I see the all natural label on a food, the little red flag in me goes, oh, there's sugar in it. Because guess what? Sugar is natural. But of course, so is snake venom. So all natural doesn't all natural doesn't have to mean it's that it's better for you. Not all natural is a good. That usually makes me want to investigate further because I know they're trying to trick me. That's what I believe when I see all natural. Cholesterol free. Well, something that's labeled cholesterol free, I'm not saying it's all bad. It might be a very fine product. But what I am saying is just because it's got that cholesterol-free stamp on it doesn't make it better. And here's a trick that these companies do not want me to tell you, and that is they put cholesterol-free on products that may have never had cholesterol. Anything plant-based, anything plant-based like a peanut butter. I've seen the labels, it's a cholesterol-free peanut butter. Well, peanut butter comes from a plant that never had that never had cholesterol in the first place. So if your doctor had just got through telling you, oh, hey, I read your labs and it looks like your cholesterol's a little high, and then that day you go to the grocery store and you're looking at the two peanut butters or the two almond butters or whatever, and it says cholesterol free, don't pay the extra dollar for the cholesterol free version. That's what they're doing, is trying to get you to pay more for the exact same product because the peanut butter or the nut butter never had cholesterol in the first place. If something says diet on there, it's probably likely that it has sugar substitutes and it's probably processed. And so I would just say, let's just eat super clean. Diet feels like it's a free pass to eat things, but like the Diet Coke, it's got some chemicals in there and artificial colors in there, likely artificial things, man-made things, chemically type things to make it taste okay. But I would definitely avoid it. Just eating clean, sticking with your vegetables and your fruits and your clean meats, um, and just staying away from packaged foods. Let's see here. Also gluten-free. The same rule applies as cholesterol-free. They'll put that they'll stamp that gluten-free on the front of a product, but it might not have never had gluten in the first place. And gluten necessarily isn't necessarily bad. It's just for the first 12 weeks, we want you off of it because it is one of the top two culprits for causing gut disruptions and gut inflammation and gut mucus and just creating mucus in the body. And of course, there's people that are sensitive to it, and there's people allergic to it, and there's people with celiacs who can never have gluten. But for a while, when the whole gluten thing came popular, just like it was the popular buzzword, and everyone's, oh, gluten's bad, gluten's bad, gluten's bad. So we start buying all this stuff that's gluten free. Sometimes, like a gluten free bread, it's made with a rice flour, which is high glycemic, which can cause a whole host of other problems. So just because it says gluten-free doesn't mean it's better. I'm not saying gluten-free is bad. I'm just saying you need to go do some more research and look a little deeper. What's in that product? Because if it's a gluten-free bread and it's made from rice flour, now it's just going to send your body into a fat storage mode and send your blood sugar spiking and possibly put you at risk for diabetes. If it's something you're consuming a lot of. So don't let the gluten-free make you think it's for sure my healthiest choice, because it's not always. Organic is great. Again, we're asking you guys to eat, or especially organic vegetables. Oh, I know what I wanted to say about the gluten as well. One of the problems with like wheat products, where gluten typically comes from, is is that it's sprayed with glyphosate, which is a herbicide, which is a chemical that's causing problems. And certain wheat products have more parts per million, and that's more likely what's been causing the problems from the breads and the gluten um, filled products, is that it's likely because of the pesticides that they're spraying on those kinds of crops. Glyphosate is a common one that they're spraying on the crops, and that's probably, if you're sensitive to things that are gluten, it might be that instead of the actual gluten itself. And that brings me to organic. Yeah, we want organic, but just because something's stamped with the organic stamp on there does not mean that it is just automatically a better choice because guess what? I've seen organic sugar. You guys, organic sugar is still sugar. Sugar is the enemy. Sugar is what will take you out. Sugar, what will ruin your results of what you're trying to do in this program. Sugar feeds the bad bacteria in the gut. Sugar puts us at risk for diabetes, all the things I've already said. So organic, yes, we want that, we want that, we want that. But just because it says organic does not automatically mean it's your best choice. Low calorie or light. Sometimes the reason I even put this one on the list was because I used to see, in the grocery store these little packages like Skinny Cow. I think it was called Skinny Cow or something, and it was a bag of like Oreo cookies. But it was like, oh, it's 100 calories. So you're like, oh, it's 100 calories. It's moderate, it's portion control. I can eat all this stuff in moderation. But the problem is, it's still all the crappy, junky, chemically, high trans fatty kinds of stuff. So be very mindful of what you're getting in your products. Again, sticking to clean foods that are vegetables or just clean things that you mix yourself. If you're making your own mayonnaise or you're having the Candida friendly mayonnaise or the Primal Kitchen mayonnaise, those kinds of things are made with cleaner ingredients. So I would say stick with those, make your dips from those, and stay away from diet and low calorie or light types of foods. Oh, and this one has got me several times, and they trick me. They tricked me. They did it. So so the made with stevia, that one years ago I was buying a yogurt. And there's the Carb Master yogurts in the grocery store, and they're low carb, so it means they didn't add sugar, and they had the peach and the cherry and the vanilla and all the yummy yogurts, but the individual servings, and they're such a convenient snack. Excuse me. They're a convenient snack, they're a protein snack. If I could get the one without the sugar, that's great. But those ones at the grocery store that I had been buying, they had sucralose, which again is a man-made chemical sweetener, which again, bad for the bacteria in the gut. So I would get it on occasion, but I just didn't really want to put that stuff in my body. And then I found this yogurt. It said sweetened with stevia, and I was like, Eureka! I'm so excited. They finally did it. They finally made a yogurt with stevia. I buy a bunch, I get it all the way home. And then, of course, my curiosity mind, I got smart. I turned it around and I looked at the ingredients. Well, guess what? It also had the sucralose in it. And sucralose, when you're reading your labels, it goes from most to least. Sucralose was at the top of the list, and the stevia was at the very bottom of the list. So did they lie to me? No, they did not lie. They did put stevia in it, but they put a little teeny tiny sprinkle drop, and the rest of it was sweetened with the sucralose. So be mindful of that. And the same with the salad dressing, made with olive oil. The same result. I got excited. I bought it. I brought it all the way home. I even opened it so I couldn't return it. And then I turned it around and read the ingredients. And soybean oil was at the top of the list, and olive oil was at the bottom of the list. So again, you have to look at your ingredients to make sure that's the only sweetener or oil or whatever. They think they know we're getting wise to these products and these ingredients. But if we're not wise enough to look at those ingredients list to see that other crappy junk that's in there, they're going to sell us more crappy junk. All right. All right. So plant-based meats, why shouldn't we get those? Oh, someone has a chat. Um, I use the Yucca app. Oh, you guys, who said that? Jacqueline. Thank you, Jacqueline. The Yucca, Yuka, and it's like the
Mm-hmm.
little emblem of a carrot. Um,
Yes.
yeah, she says it has a carrot icon. And it scans like you can scan your lotions and your personal care products along with your foods. But and it gives it a rating. So it's like 22 out of 100, which obviously means it's bad. But you guys can use that. That'll be very helpful for you. And there's another one called Bobby Approved, and those apps are both free. So you can look at now, check Bobby approved because Bobby does approve some sugar items. So just understand, is it healthy or is it full of crappy man-made chemicals? Or is it, going to be more natural? Again, sugar is natural. So he might have his thumbs up, but it maybe not be for our program. But those are apps that are, at least helpful. So thank you for that, Jackie. So plant-based meat, why wouldn't we have them? Well, they're lower in saturated fats, so that's good for our heart health, right? Hello, I want to change. Oops, what's happening? Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. They're higher in fiber than meat. Meat really doesn't have any fiber, so why shouldn't we have the plant-based meats? Well, again, here we go with chemicals. Even though methylcellulose is FDA approved, it's a chemical and it can cause diarrhea and digestive disruptions, especially if you're eating a lot of it. Um, Personally, I don't really understand if you don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat. But to eat a fake meat, it doesn't, because of all the things I'm about to tell you, does not make any sense. A lot of times it's a soy protein, if any protein at all. A lot of times they're not necessarily a protein. They could be made with beans or edamame or other products, which are incomplete proteins. It might have a little bit of complete protein, but soy is a hormone disruptor, so we don't want to go there, at least not very often. The soy heme, that is the soy iron. That's the stuff they put in there to make the fake burger patty bleed. It's fake blood even, and it's coming from soy. Again, I'm not sure why anybody would want that. And it's not better for the environment. I know a lot of times people are trying to eat plant-based meats because of the cows, that's a whole thing. However, it's coming from a factory. It's coming from a factory that has a huge carbon footprint. And if you think about it, plant-based meats have far more wrapping around them. There's the plastic wrap on the inside, and then it's box around it. So it's leaving, a lot more trash than a basic, uh, burgers, regular meat or regular chicken or regular meats, with just that one styrofoam and the plastic. It's a lot less actually. So it is not better for the environment. So I'm not a fan of the fake uh, plant-based meats. All right, now we're going to get into it. This is where it gets good and juicy. This is the important part. So write these terms down. They're very important. So first, which came first, the chicken or the egg? And I'm asking because I couldn't figure out which slide to do first, because guess what's next? This is chicken. So I put the egg first. That's how I did it, but I thought you guys would be helpful and I didn't hear anybody say anything. So anyway, so let's talk about our eggs. Let me get my notes here. Where'd that go? Well, I pretty much know this stuff anyway. I have it right. All right. All right, well, anyway, so here we are. So as you can see, there's different kinds. There's pasture-raised eggs, there's conventional eggs are just the regular, they're white, they're, the cheaper ones. There's cage-free, there's free range, and then there's pasture-raised. I cannot believe my notes are gone here. Really. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's talk about the conventional eggs versus the on the left here. So the pasture-raised eggs compared to the conventional is 3 to 6 times more vitamin D. Most Americans are deficient in vitamin D. So you want to get, so save money on your supplements, get the pasture raised eggs. 70% higher in vitamin B12. That's your energy, guys. That is, if you're feeling tired, you might be shy of vitamin B12. It could be up to 200% more folate and up to 60% more vitamin A than the conventional eggs. They're 2 to 7 times more omega-3, which is an essential fatty acid, which is your anti-inflammatory. This is essential. Essential means your body needs it. And we don't get enough as Americans. Typical American diet is plenty with omega-6. We need to be even with omega-3, but there's baked goods and all this other stuff, kind of crappy fast food stuff is high in omega-6. So we need to raise our omega-3s. Let's see. Also, 2 to 3 more times vitamin E. That's your anti-aging, helps with your hormones. And 7 times higher in beta carotene. So there's the little pictures. The next slide I have for you guys is going to have a better view. What am I skipping here? So yeah, the conventional eggs, they're injected with low dosages of antibiotics. They're raised in unnatural and inhumane environment. So how healthy could that chicken be? And that means that the eggs are the same. They're fed GMO soy and corn, and there are fewer nutrients in both the chicken and the eggs. So let me go ahead and get to the next slide so you can get a little bit of better view here. All right. Oops. All right, so conventional, they have limited space. They're fed GMO, antibiotics, and they don't have any natural sunlight ever. And they're in the cages, just how you see on that lower right-hand corner. So any chicken that you're consuming or any eggs that are coming from these chicken, either way, um, they're less healthy. They have no natural light. They're fed grains, GMOs, soy, corn, all of that stuff. All right, cage free, that's the picture on the left. So as you can see, they're not in cages, so it's a little bit better. And it's a little bit better. They're not in cages and they can go and get I guess, their food as they want it or need it. However, it is not better. There's no outdoor access for cage free, no outdoor access. So they're not eating the right foods. They're still being fed the same stuff. They're still being fed the GMO, the corn, the soy, antibiotics, all of that same stuff. But they can access their food and water as desired. So that's cool. Um, the pasture raised, they're mostly outside the whole time. So that's a good thing. They eat grass and they eat their vegetation and they're out there foraging for food like chickens are supposed to be doing. They're living in the sunlight. And so that's a really very healthy way for them to live. They're also giving back to the environment. When I went to Tennessee to visit my son, he worked for a company called Ancient Nutrition, and I already was familiar with them. I loved that brand. I love their products, just because they did do a lot of good things for their products. They went out over and above what they had to do to sell a good quality product. But their one of their main office is out there in Tennessee. So I went with my son, and he took me kind of on a field trip to one of the farms. And what they did was they had all the birds, like turkeys and chickens and the smaller animals, goats and little things like that. And they kind of had them in a movable fence. So they would have them like eating out there on the lawn, eating, and then they're pooping and giving back nourishment to the soil. And then after a few weeks, they'd move the whole set to a different area. And then they can use that area for farming for their other stuff. But it's all naturally fertilized by these chickens and turkeys and goats and all these little animals. And so I thought that was really a cool thing they did. And so they really, so if you got to buy products from a vitamin company outside Dr. Infantino's, I would definitely recommend Ancient Nutrition. They're more expensive even than Dr. Infantino's, I can tell you that, but they are good. So anyway, just wanted to you guys to understand the difference between pasture raised, cage free, conventional, and then there is free range, which is the second best to pasture raised. However, they're only outdoor for part of the time, and it's a smaller space. So they can still be in a limited space, unlike the picture in the middle that you see for free range. They have breathing room, literally. So anyway, all right. So fish, and I got a picture of salmon there. So just kind of there's tilapia, which is a common farm raised fish. So if you guys are eating tilapia and you have, oops, and if you have found a wild caught, that's great, but I've never seen it. So be sure to look at the fish that it is um, wild caught. So farm raised, what they're fed is either pellets or like fish meal, which is fine. However, additional concerns is that they're added colors. Why do they have to add colors to the salmon? Farm raised salmon is gray, whereas fresh salmon, wild caught salmon is orange, salmon color, because of what it's eating. It's eating the natural algae that's orange that turns it orange. So because they're feeding it these fake foods and these GMO corns and this GMO wheats and the GMO soy products, and there's even plastic residue as they discovered in a lot of this fish food. So it's going in the fish and we are what we eat. So it is very important that we're paying attention to this. I'm going to talk about added colors in just a minute. Um, the colors are just as unhealthy as it's real bad actually. So they have to add the color because the fish is not eating the thing that would normally turn it that orange. So now it's not only not eating healthy food, but now they've added something more unhealthy to that farm raised fish. Now, the wild caught, they are out there in the wild. Obviously, it's food chain. They're eating the smaller fish that doesn't contain soy, it doesn't contain wheat, nothing GMOs. No artificial colors need to be added because they're living in their natural environment, and they are much higher in omega-3s. And again, omega-3s are an essential fatty acid that your body needs, your brain needs it, your heart needs it, and it's just good for the body overall because of the anti-inflammatory properties. Inflammation is the beginning of any and every disease. Inflammation if we have pain, it's because there's inflammation. It starts with inflammation and then we feel the pain and then it turns into disease. So we need to eat anti-inflammatory foods as often as we can, which are things high in omega-3. All right, so now we talked about having added colors. Let's see if this computer, all right, so dyes, let me see, where's my stuff on dyes? Yeah. All right, so we've got added dyes. There's different names. There's citrus red, there's citrus red number 2, there's blue number 1, blue number 2, red number 3, red number 4, yellow number 5, and yellow number 6. And then there's also cochineal, and carmine. Well, guess what? The little picture to the left here, that little bug, that cute little bug you're looking at over there, guess what? That is a cochineal bug, or also known as carmine. So if you see those words on your ingredient list and it's a red product, the red color is coming from that little bug. But I don't know if that's better or worse because these colors, let me read some of them. Citrus red number 2 causes bladder tumors. Blue number one and number two is banned in other countries. Banned in other countries. But it's linked to brain cancer. You find that in candies and cereals, drinks, pet foods even. So if you have pets, be sure to read the labels on their stuff too. All this is stuff we're feeding our kids. Who's eating mostly candy is kids, I would think, or cereals. And so watch for your blues number one and two, because they are definitely not good for us. Red number three is banned as a topical use because they knew it caused cancers. They knew it, and this is in America. Number three, they knew it caused cancer, so they took it out of our skincare products, but they allowed it to stay in our foods. My guess is that these big food companies, General Mills, all these big giant food companies were able to partner up with the FDA to keep it allowed because these companies are making billions and billions of dollars every single year. So look at your numbers. They're banned in other countries. Number 40 is also a carcinogen. It's banned in Europe. Oh, that's a red number 40. And that's what you see in maraschino cherries and grenadine, cherry pie, ice cream candy, and all kinds of other things. Also, yellow number 5, also known as tartazine, is banned in other countries as well. I mean, that doesn't even make sense that we're allowing it. So hopefully these things, as we get more aware and informed of how bad these things are, hopefully they start banning these things. So this is why I'm saying, hey, maybe that little bug isn't such a bad idea. Because these dyes are all, the rest of the dyes are all chemicals. So I'm saying it could actually be, you know, good, better for you. I don't know. I've never been interested in eating bugs, but just wanted you guys to be aware. The yellow number 5 can help mutate. It causes genotoxicity, which mutates healthy DNA. Do we really want that in our kids growing up, or even in our own bodies? My gosh, I don't think so. So that's a no. Preservatives. We've got ascorbic acid, which is a form of vitamin C, which is not terrible, but it can cause diarrhea, and it can, if someone has kidney stones or kidney problems, you don't want to take that every day. You don't want that a lot. But if you're taking a vitamin C supplement and its form is ascorbic acid, you might want to switch it out for ascorbate. Ascorbate, if you're taking a vitamin C supplement, is going to be a better quality of a vitamin C. Nitrates, nitrites, those are going to be in like your deli meats. It's all kinds of things, but just be careful. Those are preservatives. BHA, where was that? I had that list on here too. What was that problem? I forget what that one was doing. Yeah. That's the one that you'll find in chips and meats, and that's also an endocrine disruptor. Endocrine, that's your hormones, guys. We don't want to mess up with our hormones, and also known carcinogen. So nitrates, put them back. Don't consume them. That's why I don't want you guys going to Subway and eating that deli meat. It's really, really not good for us. Phosphate, food additive, aluminum. Aluminum is huge. It's a common ingredient in deodorant, and aluminum is directly related to dementia and Alzheimer's. And if you imagine, you're putting it on at least one time a day, at least one time every day for how many years? For 90 years. So, once in a while you get something that has some aluminum traces in it. But if it's something that you're using on a daily, be warned, it is definitely connected to, I always, at this point now, knowing what I know, I use aluminum-free deodorant. And then potassium bromate is also a preservative. Other ingredients you want to be aware of, like I said, methyl cellulose. Aluminum came up, I just had to say that one twice. MSG, just not great for us. Sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, those are chemicals, man-made sweeteners, bad for the gut. And lastly, I could say this a million times, but I can't say it enough. Sugar, especially high fructose corn syrup, it is everywhere. is everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. It's in your salad dressings, it's in your canned beans, it's in your soups, it's in, like, I was talking about it yesterday, Campbell's tomato soup. I grew up on that stuff, but it's full of high fructose corn syrup. So we really want to get foods that are not adding sugars, specifically the very highly processed and very, very addictive high fructose corn syrups, which will cause you fatty liver and diabetes. And then trans fat is man-made. You know, we've got saturated fat, which comes from, you know, like your chicken skin and your meats and your dairy, but trans fat is man-made. And it came really popular when, you know, they discovered that cholesterol, you know, butter, you know, was a saturated fat. We're trying to, you know, get away from the saturated fat. So they decided to make a trans fat. And it turns out that the trans fat is actually worse for your cardiovascular system than saturated fat. So have the real butter, make sure it's grass-fed, but have the real thing. Don't eat the fake stuff.
Mm.
Awesome. So just to recap, there's no such thing as a magic pill. You want to read your ingredients labels. You know, the front of the label is one thing. They're going to say gluten-free and diet and healthy choice and low calorie and all these fancy words um, that you might want to see. But if you don't go turn that thing around and look at your ingredient list, they might be tricking you like they tricked me. Plant-based is not always healthier. Again, I'm not mad at plant-based foods. Plants and vegetables are probably your biggest bang for your buck on nutrition, but the stamp of plant-based does not mean it's your best choice. Where the food comes from matters. So if it's wild caught, or free range chickens. That's what we're going, or actually pasture raised chickens. That's what we're looking for. That's the healthier chicken. It's got better flavor. It's got better texture. It's got better nutrition. It's got better eggs. And all those eggs have better nutrition. And even the egg yolk is it's darker orange. It's just so much better for us. So don't diet. The first three words in diet are die. I don't want to diet anyway. I just want to eat good foods. Spices are allowed, you guys. We can have delicious, delicious, healthy foods. We're just going to eat clean. All right. So, by the way, I do have a buzzword list if you guys want me to send it to you with some of those chemically things I was talking about. And some of the buzzwords when you are going to look at your ingredients list. If you want me to send you that, send me an email at coach@drinfantino.com. And that's, if you email me, I'll respond to that email with the attachment. So please don't text me and ask me to send it to you because then I have to go find your email address. If you can just email me, I can just respond with the attachment and I can send you that right over. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions? Do you guys have my email? Because I'm going to stop the share. Coach@drinfantino.com. So if you want the buzzword list, email that. All right. Anybody else have anything that may be related or not related to this topic today?
Hey, Tammy.
Hi,
Hi.
how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I'm back. And I'm just trying to study up.
Yeah, well, you're in the
Study.
right place.
Thank you. I had a few questions, two of them from
Uh-oh.
the presentation. Great presentation, by the way. Thank you so much for
Oh, thanks. You just froze.
all.
Um,
Oh, no.
okay, you came back. You
Am I
came back.
here?
You came back.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So, few questions. One is regarding the fat-free part.
Yeah,
You mentioned we were talking about the polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats.
yeah.
Is that something that we want to avoid or something that we want more
You
of?
want those. Those
Okay,
are the
we
ones
want
we
those.
want.
Okay.
Those are things like nuts and salmon. Um, what else? What else? What else? Your avocado oil. Those are
Okay.
your good or your good healthy fats. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then
Your seeds, flax
all
seeds.
right. And then the big question about soy. Is there any time that soy is okay?
In extreme moderation. The problem with soy, just in general, like edamame, it's nice. We go to the Japanese restaurant, they give you a little edamame, that's great. But soy generally isn't a hormone disruptor. And here's here's what I know about it too, is I used to sell a soy capsule, a product in my vitamin store. And the previous owner, they were trying to teach me about all the products in the store. And he said, well, they keep it on the shelf because there was a couple of regulars that bought it for their menopause. So a soy disruptor, if you're in menopause and everything's wacky, you might want to disrupt it. Let's disrupt it and put it back where it was, right? However, but what he warned me about, he said, if a customer walks in, he said, what I would do is I would ask him if they had any like uterine cancers or breast cancers or feminine cancers, ovarian, in their family history. Because if they do not recommend that because it can make those things worse. So if you're prone to a female cancer, like ovarian or uterine or whatever, that can make things worse. So
Mm.
because it raises the estrogen, and we don't want to do that because that's where the problems come from. So, but raising the
Mm.
estrogen for someone who doesn't have any and and they're going a little bit wacky because they're in menopause, that might be a good thing. But that's the reason we have you guys off of it. Number two, as far as edamame in general, it's a legume and it's still a bean, and we're just avoiding that for the bean reasons because they're omega-6, and omega-6 is more inflammatory. So for the reasons of
Mm.
soy and inflammation, we say none. But on occasion, like anything else, if I was to go have a Diet Coke once a year, like once in a blue moon, we have some of this stuff, but if what we're doing what we do consistently is the results that we're going to get. Eating a salad one day doesn't make us skinny. Eating a slice of pizza one day doesn't make us fat. But what we're doing consistently is how the body's going to pay us back, either good or bad. Great questions. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
yes. Okay. So in the case of menopause and soy, I guess there could be other ways to get the phytonutrients, right? Not just soy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
There was,
Okay.
it's only been this August will be 7 years since I closed my store. So the memory of what I had there is fading because I didn't really believe in much in the products that I had. There's things like black cohosh or wild yam, and there's some studies that say that can be helpful in the land of menopause, but I don't think I was convinced. I mean, you could try them, and everybody's different. Everybody's different. I would
Hmm.
try a product from my store and it would cure the thing. It would be so fabulous. And so I would turn around and I'm my own testimonial. I would sell it to the next guy who came in. And they'd come back and go, it didn't really do much for me. Or opposite, somebody would come in, oh my gosh, Tammy, this product, it works so wonderful. It's so great and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, oh, I better try that. So I would try it and it's like, didn't do anything for me. So everybody is different. So I'm not saying they don't work. I'm just saying with any medicine, even if it's a medication from a doctor, that, they usually say, take two of these and call me in the morning, so to speak. That's just the doctor saying, let's try this and see how it works for you. It may or may not help you with that symptom, but same goes with herbs and
Yep.
vitamins over the counter. You just try it. If you read enough
Yep.
studies, see what people are saying about it. Make sure the studies that you're reading are being studied by a third party, not the company trying to sell you the product, because of course they're going to sing its praises. I mean, that's their job is to
Yeah.
sell it to you. Even if it's a 3-page article, it's their job to make sure every word in those 3 pages is going to make you buy their product. So if it's third party tested and studied, then we know. So those are things we look
Okay.
for. And of course,
Thank
and I
you
guess
so
the Yucca
much.
app might be helpful too.
Yes, yes, yes. Sorry to hog the mic, but I have one
No
more
problem.
question. This involves muscle loss, and I was looking into supplementing with some creatine and collagen. And I don't know if some of that is already included in our supplements or
There's
if
no
that would
creatine
be
or
okay to add.
yes. Well, you said collagen, creatine, and what else?
It's collagen and creatine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, though you can add those too. Now on the creatine, especially for
Okay,
females,
great.
I would recommend you don't take it for more than 3 months. You want to cycle off of it. The problem with creatine is it can cause bloating. It
Mm,
has your body retaining water. So if you're still having cycles and then you go through that premenstrual cycle where you're just bloating, you might not want to have creatine also. But the creatine is your energy. So if you're taking it before a workout, you get into that gym, you're going to lift heavier, you're going to lift longer, you're going to do more. So your workout will be more intense. So you're going to obviously get more out of your workout. So that's perfectly fine. Collagen is wonderful. It's your tendons and your connective tissue is all made with collagen. Your skin, the reason why we get wrinkled is because it loses the collagen. So why not? And it's a form of protein. So that will help with muscle gain as well.
okay.
Great questions.
Thank you.
Keep
Thank
them
you so
coming,
much.
sister.
And Tammy, let me piggyback on that. Can we take creatine and collagen in the first 12 weeks of our program
Yes,
or after? Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
In fact, especially the collagen, I encourage that. But
Okay.
yes.
Good.
I think Bobby has a question. Unmute. Yeah.
Sure. Well, back kind of to theirs, is that just a supplement that you would find or creatine and collagen?
Yeah, creatine can come in either a capsule or a powder. Same with collagen for that matter. Um, we have a creatine. We did have a creatine. We're just switching warehouses and our some of our supplements are getting switched out. So I'm afraid to answer that question now. I will make sure I have that information by next week.
Okay.
But we did when the store was open. Right now they're dismantling it and putting it back in a better way with different and more things. We're going to have more things. But I don't know where the creatine lies in all of that. If it's
Okay.
available. No, hold on 1 second. I can ask. Hey, Debbie, is the creatine available?
Gonna ask Dr. Patino if he purchased a back stock of any. I don't think he did.
Okay. All right.
Tell them to get back to him on
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to get back to you.
Okay. My other
Yeah.
question kind of is, I'm on in 30 days now. So the nuts that we're allowed to have, is that are they just more low glycemic? Like I'm just so surprised almonds are not on there. Or am I just misinformed on almonds?
That's just because of certain, like the almonds that kind of have the skin on the almonds isn't great. Almonds are fine. I would say all, nuts and seeds, go with the ones you like. Pecans are good too. Like he has macadamias and walnuts on there as the two nuts he likes the best. I guess they have the fewer amount or less like spores and molds. That was the two reasons why we didn't even allow nuts the first 30 days.
Okay.
And then but almonds do have a health benefit. And so do pecans and so do other nuts, so do pistachios. So, again, those are those polyunsaturated and those monounsaturated fats. So those we want those. Obviously in moderation, a quarter cup max.
And it counted as part of a carb maybe or no?
Cashews can be a little carby, but they're unless they're, honey roasted where there's honey, which is
Yeah. Okay,
go with
cool.
raw if you can. If you're
Yeah.
having a nut and you can find raw, that's going to be better for you because a lot of the roasted nuts are roasted in another oil that's not in our best interest because it's
Yeah.
cheaper. All that chunk oil is cheaper, you know.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Anybody else?
Hi, Tammy. This is Teresa.
Hi.
Could you, um, I try to avoid it and I don't think it agrees with me. I was just curious what bad things you could tell us about palm oil.
What I know about it, that's it's going to make it a trans fat. So palm kernel oil specifically, it's like, and you'll see that in protein bars. And if there's like a chocolate coating on the outside, that's firm when it's cool. But if you stick it in your hot car, it melts and gets soft and almost like liquid. It melts, and that's a saturated fat or a trans fat is when they take a liquid fat and make it firm like a margarine. That's what a trans fat is. So that's palm kernel oil is that. Great questions. All right, anybody else going once, twice?
Tammy, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Um, Please correct me if I'm wrong, but for a snack yesterday, day one, I saw olives on the list. Is that right?
Yes.
And it's so funny because it said 16 olives, and the only olives I had were Whole Foods 365 brand sliced black olives. So I opened up this little can and I started like piecing little slices together and
Oh
counting
no.
one, two. No, the funny thing is one can, so maybe this is helpful, is like 16 olives actually. I was like, this is weird. I mean, it might have been just how I pieced them together, but my point is, I also noticed that one of those little cans, I'm sure you can imagine the size of a little can of olives,
Yeah.
that it says it's 4 servings, and a regular serving is 20 calories. So that would have been 80 calories. And so I was like, I just am going to ask Tammy what is the good and the bad of that as a snack? Like, like,
Those are good. They're going to have a healthy fat in them. They're still on the low side. They're not like super high fat like a butter or an avocado or an avocado oil or something like that. They're lower, but they do have the good healthy polyunsaturated, or I forget which one they're in. A lot of them have both. A lot of foods have both poly and monounsaturated. Um, but they're a great snack. So you can go green olives, you can go black olives. If you're needing to watch your sodium, that might be the only concern, but those are kind of, you can eat as much as you want. You just got to make sure you stay within your calorie zone. But if you're eating a lot of olives, olives are a fat. They can keep you full, but if you're too full to eat your proteins and your other vegetables, then you might want to back off a little bit. But boy, olives make a fabulous snack. Black olives, I love black olives. And it's more fun and they're very much more tasty if you put them on your fingers. Right? Isn't that not true? All right. All right, guys. Anybody else? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for now. And I will see you guys later.